Hello, Internet! I'm Elliot the Purple Hair Doofus, and welcome back to SACRE BLEU by Christopher Moore. Now first, let's address the fact that it's been 6 months since my last SACRE BLEU video. I'm sorry. If this is the first SACRE BLEU video that you are watching, please go back and watch my other playlist. I believe there's like 3 or 4 videos on there. I washed this shirt. I promise. Anyways, let's move on with the story. Today we're covering chapters 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. I hope you've read those chapters because I do not want to ruin anything for you. Our section begins with Marie wondering if she used the right pan to bring Juliet with. Did she really? And wondering if there would have been another pan that would have done better. Juliet, she nurses her wound with the color man, and they discuss their plans to try and get more color. Regine, Lucien's sister, confesses to her boyfriend that she believes she killed her father and her sister. And she talks about how when her father was becoming a painter, he used to lock himself away in the shed, away from the entire family, and his mom was so worried that he was having an affair. One day, her sister goes out on top of the shed and looks down the skylight and sees their father, and Regine is watching from the window as her sister's face lights up, and she nearly, jumps for joy, but she slips, and she falls, and she dies. And there's this whole commotion. So you would think that the father would run out of the shed to figure out what happened, but he doesn't. And when they finally go into the shed to find out why he didn't, turns out he was dead too. So Regine blames herself for her sister and her father's death, and now she is incredibly worried that her brother is dead too. And her boyfriend asks if they should tell her mom, and she's like, no, she can never tell. And her mom is just kind of standing over them going, never? Yeah, she's kind of screwed now. Lucien wakes up to a bunch of his favorite painters and friends standing around him. I believe it was Passard is sitting next to him, and he instantly asks Passard about his daughter. Passard turns to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you can tell him if you want. And Passard says, my daughter died so many years ago. How come you don't know this? And the men go off and they start admiring the painting that Lucien was working on before he passed out. They're talking about how masterful it is and how wonderfully it's done. Henry comes to visit. Henry is like, I set vigil for you at the whorehouse for 7 days. Lucien's like, you set vigil for people who are dying. I'm not dead. It's like, but it worked. You got better. I love Henry. I really do. The men come in with Henry, and all of them start discussing memory loss while using the color blue. And these people get closer and closer and closer to unraveling the mystery that is the evil color blue. And they also question Van Gogh's suicide at the beginning of the book. And they're wondering why a man would shoot himself in the chest and then crawl to the dock. If you really wanted to commit suicide, why in the world would you do that? Lucien gets better, and he's baking bread in the bakery, and he's experimenting with some French tactics while he's baking the bread, and Henry convinces him to take the painting to Van Gogh's brother so that he can ask him about the color blue. And Lucien says, that's a terrible idea, but I still want to take my painting there because I'm not sure if it's finished and I really want his opinion on it. And so they drag this 8-foot painting through the windy streets of France to get to his gallery. And along the way, there are some kids, and they're like, naked woman! And they just kind of stare at the painting, and they're like, boobs. Did you touch them? Boobs. And they run into Renard. They're speaking with him about the color blue and the color man, and Renard gets very quiet. He's like, oh, that guy. I know that guy. Before they question him, he excuses himself, so they never actually get any real answers from him. They get to the gallery, and they find that it is floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall paintings. And Van Gogh sees the painting. He's like, this is beautiful. This is amazing. I want to put it up right now. I want to sell it. Lucien's like, I want to put a scarf around her neck to attract the eye. And he's like, no, dude. Her eyes attract the eyes. This is fantastic. It's finished. It's done. Don't touch it. He's like, but there's still some texture stuff. No! Henry asks the Van Gogh brother about the color man, trying to unravel the mystery even further, but the Van Gogh brother doesn't know him and doesn't know anything about him. So Henry's like, well, It's worth a shot. And he convinces Lucien to go out with him to have a drink. And while they're walking away from the gallery, there is a woman on the other side of the street staring into the gallery. She knows exactly where her painting is, so she goes to visit. So Henry and Lucien are at the bar, and Henry is discussing one of his models that he had painted using the color blue, and how he was so distraught, so heartbroken when she left, that he had to track her down after he was done painting her. And when he did, he finds that she has no memory of him. She knows nothing about him. She knows nothing about the time that she was with him. She attributes it to an illness or alcohol and says, I have no memory of 3 or 4 months, and that's probably when I was with you. And it just breaks Henry. And he's afraid that if Lucien tries to hunt down Juliet, they're going to come to the same conclusion, and that's really going to suck for Henry. Eventually, they go and meet the professor, because the professor was analyzing the color blue to see if there were any drugs in it. And the professor is on these tall, steampunk-like stilts that he had created for Henry, because Henry is really short. They find that there is a hypnotic drug in the color blue, and that is why most people that use it have been affected by it. The color man and a donkey are sitting in the new domicile where Juliet visits them. Juliet's like, okay, we have to go find another artist, paint more blue so that we can gain more power. And the color man's like, I think you should just finish with the artists that you have, kill them, and we'll get the color blue through them. And Juliet's like, no, that's not an option. And then she starts thinking about a very Victorian time. Then we get taken back to a time when they were burning witches and drowning them. And Blue was just burned and drowned as a witch. And the color man actually pulls her out of the lake. And she says, you just had to wait until they killed me, didn't you? And she gets put into this other girl who's covered in blue water. And I just had to wait until the winter to record this part. So, go! We finish the flashback, and we have the color man, the donkey, and Juliet again. And the color man says, okay, I know where to get some blue. But he's thinking, Juliet's really not going to like this. That is pretty much where our section ends for today. The question that I have for you is, have you ever experienced true heartbreak? The question that I had last SACRE BLEU video, about 6 or 7 months ago, was, when was the time that a friend had looked in on you, or you had looked on a friend to make sure that they were okay? Shortly after my friend Curtis killed himself, I found myself unable to eat. And it wasn't because I couldn't cook, and it wasn't because I couldn't keep it down. It's just because I was so depressed that I couldn't gather the energy to take care of myself. And so a friend of mine named Sidian calls me up maybe a week after it happened, and he's like, you, me, lunch, noon, tomorrow. He hangs up the phone. It's just kind of like, okay then, I guess I'm going to go eat. With my friend Sidian. And I think it's just because he knows that if it comes down to me disappointing someone or me taking care of myself, I would rather not disappoint someone far more than I would like to take care of myself. I would let my life turn to crap before I would disappoint someone. It's just how unhealthy I am. The next book that I will be reading is The Wastelands by Stephen King. Go out and grab it by any legal means necessary. Borrow it from a library, borrow it from a friend, buy it at a bookstore, buy it on a Kindle. I don't care what you do as long as it's legal, you read it before I ruin it for you. I've been Ellie the Purple Haired Doofus reminding you to watch your pajamas. And I will see you all in the next chapters of SACRE BLEU by Christopher Moore. Toodles!